All right, y'all, I don't know what I'm gonna all be talking about in this video. It's just a freestyle video. I'm just gonna be speaking about what's on my mind. And like during the video, I might unplug this microphone I'm using because it's causing some kind of weird artifact. It's making some kind of like weird staticky something sound. And I just bought it. It's a little shotgun mic. It's a very cheap one, but anyway, so that kind of gets me into what I'm going to talk about here. You know, the word fear. I know for myself that fear is one of the main things that a lot of us, I really don't think we understand why we are in fear to change something about our lives, or to look into something, or to confront people, places, and things. And this is why I keep talking on this channel, and I keep bringing up fear with you guys and you gals. And if the camera is not in the middle, it's hard for me to do that because I'm using the back of my camera. I can't see what I'm filming, so I'm doing my best here. You know what I mean? And see, this is what I mean when I tell people stuff like, you know, I'm holding my arm up and I'm trying to keep this thing centered, and it's like it's work doing that, holding this damn phone up like that. So, but anyway, see, fear is something that I know for myself that I have, since I have looked into it for so long. Fear is literally something like a thought in our mind. Fear is just a reaction to thoughts that are going through our head. See, when we look at fear, we think of fear as being this like outside thing that's just there, like in our lives, and there's such a thing as fear. But actually, there really is no such thing as fear. It's just a word that we use to describe what it is that we're in fear of. And really, the thing that keeps us in fear is our thought patterns, is the way that we think about ourselves, is the things that we keep telling ourselves every day. And that, there's a whole, I mean, see, in order to explain this, that's a whole other topic that a lot of you, I know a lot of you are not absolutely stupid out there, but to get into the essence of what I mean here by fear is, it's very complicated. You just can't say it all in a couple paragraphs or whatever. Sometimes it can take a lot of videos. It can take a series on talking about this kind of stuff. And that's kind of what I'm doing in my videos. It's kind of like one long series of talking about all of these things. You know, my life is a series of topics, and it's kind of like a movie series or something, but it never ends, you know? But anyway, the whole thing with fear, when we are in fear of something, all that we're doing is we are thinking of that thought, and that thought is leading us to fear. You know, the thought of what everybody else thinks of us. The thought of what are they going to think of me if I say this thing that they might not approve of, or they might not like, and vice versa. And it just goes on and on and on. And see, this is what I realized why so many of us we don't really want to get brutally honest with ourselves and our lives, and we live in this fear bubble, and we don't reach out to anybody because we know that we're gonna have to get really honest with ourselves. We're going to have to confront some people. We're gonna have to confront things. We're gonna have to go head on with things, and a lot of people just don't want to do that. And you can't make people do that. You can't make people change. You can't make people want to do something that they don't want to do. And if you don't have, see, this is why it's so hard to explain to y'all, because there is a time for negativity and there's a time for positivity. But once you realize that these are just words comparing things to one another, you'll realize more and more what I'm talking about. If you stick around here, you'll start realizing that these are simply labels to use to compare ourselves. And the more that we compare ourselves to others, the more that we are never going to have the freedom of knowing that our thoughts are just really playing with us and it's a game. But yet we're taking them seriously. We're taking the thought of, what will other people think of me? What will people say if I change? What will people say if I'm doing something different that they're not doing? See, it's almost like I know for me, it's kind of cowardly for me not to confront what is really actually going on in my mind and in my life, and I'm running from it. Then I'm putting on the show. I'm putting on the facade for you. I'm putting up the front for you. I'm acting like everything's fine when everything isn't fine. But yet again, a lot of these things that we think are not fine, it's just something that we've been conditioned with. It's just something that we've been told when we were younger, and we believed that thing. We took it to heart. We took it to metaphorical heart, and we're still going by some of these things today. And I know when I get rambunctious in my video, you gotta understand that when I get rambunctious, I'm getting rambunctious at myself because I see how stupid I was. I see how dumb I used to think of certain situations. I see how ignorant I really was. And I see how I was lying to myself. And I just cannot do that, and I won't do that anymore. And see, this is why I know through the laws of the universe, through universal disciplines, through universal knowledge and knowing and universal philosophy, I know that the people that resonate with what I'm saying to them, those are going to be the people that are here, that stick around, that are going to keep listening to what I'm saying, because I have something to say for this world. Even though, but still, the video I did the other day, 2 videos or 3 videos ago, even though we have to put up with this and we have to do the best we can, hurt as less people as we can, treat our neighbor as we would treat ourselves, look into things for ourselves, even though we're doing those things and the people that understand what I'm speaking, even though we're doing all that, we know what the other side of it is too. We know that all the things that come with it, we know, I don't even want to get into that part, because see, here's where for a lot of people, it seems to go downhill for a lot of people, because right when you start talking about the other side of an issue, see, right when you go to the opposite side of a manner, This is when most of us run away because we're not willing to confront both sides of the story, or we're not willing to put ourselves in the shoes of the other side of it. You see what I mean? And I'm going to unplug this now. I hope the volume still works. If it doesn't, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, but if it cuts off. So, and it's gonna definitely be different. But see, it's always this thing where we as a people, we always look at the side that we agree with, the side that makes us feel good, the side that is telling us what we want to hear, the side that we resonate with. That's what we usually listen to, and we're all cherry pickers. We all take things that we think we need, and then we let go of things and we move on. At least most people do this. I don't know who does this or who doesn't do this. I know for me what I do. I take things that I need and I move on. But see, when you're talking about polar oppositions, when you're talking about understanding the essence of what it means to have a neutral mind, and you're willing to dig into everything. You're not willing to just go to a place where they're serving food and you're the inconsiderate one that goes into the batch of beef and rigatoni, and you see that on the left side of the pot there's beef and rigatoni, there's way more beef and rigatoni on one side of the pot, and you go there and you scoop that all out for yourself, and then you leave the rigatoni part for everybody else. See, this is what most of us do. This is what most of us will do. This is how most of us act. And we don't leave something for someone else, where we're not considerate of what if another person would come to the well. You see, it's like if you go to a water hole, and you go to that water hole, you know, when you go there to get a drink at the water hole, are you going to go there, and after you're done drinking, are you gonna pee in the water hole? Just say, oh, I don't care, I gotta take a piss, so let me piss in the water hole. See, these kinds of things, these kinds of people, man, I'm sorry to say, they are a cancer to this planet. Inconsiderate people are a cancer to this planet, and it's just how it is. And I was talking to my brother yesterday, and he says he's the only one where he is that cleans the bathroom that's there. And I told him, you know what? Keep cleaning it so that those guys can see that you're cleaning it. Even though they're inconsiderate assholes and they're being pricks, and just because they're going through something that they're in a bad mood, you know what I mean? He said that they wipe boogies on the side of the thing, and they shit on the toilet seat, and they wipe it everywhere, and they do these just ignorant, foolish, ignorant things that they have no consideration, because they don't even care for themselves. They don't even care for themselves, let alone other people. And you know, these kinds of things, see, you have to give respect in order to get respect. But most people don't even respect themselves. They don't even respect their own lives. And these kinds of people, excuse me, even though I wish the best for these people, I don't hate these people, but I see what these people are doing to themselves in this lifetime. I don't hate people that talk about negative stuff. It's just when you're talking about it over and over and over and over, and you're not willing to change anything about the negative stuff you're talking about. That's what I have a problem with, because you're just bashing yourself over the head with a hammer, and you're saying negative, negative, negative. This thing's negative, so I'm going to negatively bash my head. Listen, like I said, there is a time for everything in this life. It's just like in the book of Ecclesiastes, if you read that. There's a time to live, there's a time to die, there's a time to give, there's a time to take, there's a time to plant, and there's a time for the plant to die. There's a time to be happy, and there's a time to cry. But see, we don't look at life in this double standard way for ourselves. We're so used to picking and choosing. We're so used to saying, oh, those people are right because they said something I agreed with. But those people, they said something I didn't agree with, so they're wrong and they're my enemy. See, this is what stupid, ignorant, foolish human beings do. They compare one another to one another all the time. You see, and I see a lot of you YouTubers doing this. I see a lot of you. You're always comparing yourself to another person. And I just ask you, are you really seeing and understanding what you're doing to yourself as well as other people, and the word that you're putting out, the message that you're putting out to people? You see, I would even be so bold as to say, some of you have thousands of subscribers out there. Would you be willing to lose it all to make a necessary, a much needed change on your platform? Would you be willing to lose it all? Would you be willing to sacrifice something for other people, other places, other things? You see, this is why I do resonate with the gospel of Jesus Christ, because even if it's a reality or it isn't a reality, somebody that would sacrifice themselves for the good of another person, how could you not relate to that? And I know the whole community that just thinks about negative stuff. Negative stuff is not a bad or a good thing. It's just there's people that they stay on that side, they stick to that side, and they don't look at anything else. They just stay there. And that's what I mean by it's just, I know how it is for me. I can't speak for you, but when I'm in that position, I feel absolutely paralyzed in that position when I keep thinking that way. See, this is why my videos may be confusing you. They may be stirring you up. They may be making you angry sometimes. They might be making your mind be all over the place. And when I talk about lose your mind here, I'm not talking about how when somebody loses their mind in some movie and they go absolutely nuts and they start wanting to kill people and all these crazy things that they start doing. You know, I'm not talking about losing your mind in that manner. I'm talking about giving up on all the extra baggage that you do not need in your life and in your mind. What are these things doing for you? But see, a lot of us, we might be thinking, I'm not saying that people are thinking this. I'm just saying if you would be thinking this, people would think that I'm preaching to them. They would think that I'm telling them to not do something or to do something. But when you look into these things and you just know what they are, this is what I mean by the paradigm shift. When you see, we don't want to dig a hole. See, this is why nobody wants to start from the ground up with anything, because in order to build from the ground up, you have to start literally you have to start to dig the hole. You got to put a wood beam in the hole. You have to level it. You have to make the foundation. You have to put in the flooring. You got to put up the walls. You got to pour the cement in the wood panels, the wood before you start, and let it harden. See, we would have to do something in order to do that. But you think, people might think that I mean, see, it's, oh my gosh, it's very hard to describe. See, people might think that I mean, let's fool ourselves here. Let's tell ourselves things to fool our minds into believing certain things. But really, if you really think about this and you really get honest with yourself, when you make a change, all that you're really doing is you're telling your mind something different. It's not a bad way of, I don't want to use the word tricking your mind or making your mind believe something, because it's not a bad or a good thing when I say it in the text that I'm saying it. What you're doing is you are putting a different thought in the place of another thought, and you're thinking those thoughts instead of those thoughts. But see, some people out there, they have so many followers, they have so many people that are on board with what they're saying, that they're never going to give that up. They're going to hold that negativity on a pedestal. They're going to keep talking about that and talking about that, and they're going to keep raising it up above. They're going to say, hey, this is the thing, but all of these things are wrong. All of these things are my enemy. All of these things are things that I hate. And see, they're not looking on both sides of the manor. They're only looking at one side. They're only willing to choose one side. And this is how we have been indoctrinated to think. We have been conditioned to think that we have to remain on one side and we can never see the other thing. We can never ever give into or understand or put myself in the shoes of something else. And this is a lot of our problem. This is why we are overly selfish. This is why social media, with this whole following thing, this is why we're becoming more and more selfish. We're becoming more and more standoffish. We're becoming more and more like, stay away from me. I'm on my phone and I'm looking at somebody that I follow, and they matter and they are right about everything. And it can be a very toxic thing for some people. I'm not saying all people though. It's not all people. It's just, some people, a lot of people get involved with this. And that's just the truth of the matter. And if there's nobody that's talking about it, if there's nobody that's bringing it up, if there's nobody discussing it and the word is not being heard, then how are they going to know? If people don't go out on the street corners and walk around and do videos, if people don't confront people, if people don't start putting it out there on Front Street, then how are they going to know? They can't. It's going to stay hidden. It's going to stay in privacy. It's just going to be these channels that are telling people what they want to hear, and they're going to stay where they're at. They're going to stay paralyzed. They're not going to make any change to their lives. They're going to keep living the way they live. Fuck that. Fuck that. I'm not thinking that way anymore for myself. I made up my mind not to. And I can't expect anybody to do that with me, but when you're sick and tired of seeing things the way they are, or you just realize how things are, it's almost like you have no other choice but to speak up if you're someone like me. I just can't sit back in the shadows and watch all this stuff go on and just let it happen and watch this and this bad thing happen or watch this person destroy themselves. I can't do that, and I'm not gonna do that. So if it's like, if you haven't made up your mind, I don't know, then we're going to be wavering. We're going to be wavering on this thing. And see, when you say that, the person that may be listening, they might be saying, yeah, I'm that person that's wavering with this. And see, you haven't made up your mind yet with certain things. And see, that's why it says, even though we all are, it says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, thrown around and driven by the sea. That's what it means. But we're all double-minded, but we can look at both sides, but yet we have a choice which way we go for some time. But it's always going to be changing. It's always going to be shifting. It isn't just, you can't just stay on the island for too long or you're going to die. It's like, would you stay on the island just waiting for help? Would you just stay on that island thinking that a fresh bottle of water is going to come? Would you stay on that island saying a crab is going to crawl up to me that I'm going to be able to cook and I have no fire going? I mean, this is just it's just ignorance on a grand scale, and it's people that are not aware. It's people that are inconsiderate of others. I don't hate these people, but I can't stand these people. I really can't. And I just really wish that they would see what they're doing to themselves and what they're doing while they're in this world. Because whether we want to admit it or not, we are all a part of this living, breathing organism we call the world. We are all on this planet. We all have to live amongst each other. We all have to see each other when we go to the store, when we go to work, when we take a walk. There's no way that I can't not see or interact with people. There's people that hear me all the time when I'm doing these videos. And you know what? That's what needs to be, because there needs to be confrontation. There needs to be somebody that is filling in that place in this world, because who else is going to do it? You know, it's like the saying, who shall I send? Who shall I send? Who out of all these people will actually do something different? Who out of all these people will actually give their life for something in this world? Who will do that? I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, when I do these videos, I lose train of thought because I'm freestyling this. You see, I'm not trying to make these videos anything anymore. I've let go of that control and power of trying to make it a part of some agenda or trying to make it something for people. See, this is a lot of the world's problem. We don't know how to just be in the situation. We don't know how to simply just be and say what we really need and want to say. See, we hold back. We hold back because we don't want to offend people. We hold back because if we say something to someone, they might not like it and they might unsubscribe or not follow me or not give my video a like. See, this is the fear. This is the fear of social media. This is the fear of life. This is the fear of most of us individually. Let's not lie here. You see, if you're not willing to get honest, if it's not that time, then it's just not that time. I know for me, it took me 37 years to do this. 37 years to get absolutely brutally honest with myself. And even my videos from before, I was holding back. See, I was holding back and just saying, there might be another way. There might be another way to do this. There is no other way. There is no other way to do this. Why do you think? See, nothing happens when you're at home sitting in a desk or in a chair and you're just sitting there and doing whatever you're doing. You got to go out in the streets. You got to go where other people can hear. You have to put yourself out there in order to see, when you give respect, you're going to get respect back. And when you tell the truth hurts, but the truth also sets you free. And see, this is why so many of us are in bondage to ourselves. because we're not willing to confront ourselves and other people. This is why we're in bondage. In the name of Jesus Christ, even if Jesus Christ is real or not, I come in the name of Jesus Christ. I come in the name of the way, the truth, and the life, and I'm going to pronounce that till the day that I die. If it's real or not is irrelevant. It's the principle of it. It's coming in the name of something for the people. You see, I don't matter anymore. This vessel doesn't matter anymore, even though I do the best for this vessel, even because I have no other choice while I'm here. But what are we going to do while we're here? Are we going to keep lying to ourselves? And are we going to keep putting on the show for people? And are we going to keep wearing the mask? Or are we going to get real with ourselves? Are we going to actually speak up and say what is actually going on in our metaphorical heart and soul? Or are we going to keep it there hidden from the world and just sit on a desk, sit on a chair all day, looking on a laptop and blaming others and saying the same old stuff on our channels day in and day out? I'm sorry to say, it's dead. There, I said it. Oops, I said it. But a lot of us, we are literally like whitewashed tombs. We look good on the outside. Everything looks pretty on the outside. Oh, everything's fine. Look at my smile. Look at what I'm wearing. Look at the jet plane behind me. Yet, if you open up that tomb, it's rotten, it's decaying, it stinks, it's nasty. And this is why I can't metaphorically think of anything else but to say in the name of Jesus Christ, because it's the only thing that really sets you free from that stuff. Metaphorically, it's really the only thing that sets you free. It's the only thing that set me free from it is when I heard those words, is when I was called a religious hypocrite, when I was called a hypocrite. When they told me, yeah, you look good on the outside, Nate. You got a nice smile, Nate. You're handsome, Nate. Yeah, you do all those things, Nate. But on the inside, you're dirty, Nate. On the inside, you know, Nate. On the inside, you know you're lying to yourselves and others, Nate. You know, how long can we keep this facade going? And if nobody's out here saying anything, how are the people of the planet going to know about it? They can't. It's going to stay hidden. See, this is what the metaphorical agenda, the agenda of the satanic agenda going on, does not want you to know. And I'm just using that as a metaphor here. You see people, right, when I say that, because they wear the symbols and they go by the symbols and they live by that and they associate with that, right away they're going to look at me like I'm the bad guy or I'm the guy that's wrong. I'm saying it because I care for your metaphorical soul. I care for your well-being. I care for you to stop lying and quit putting on this show for the world. Its time is over. Its time is done. I'm not here to put on a show anymore for people. You see, that is over with me. I don't have time for silly games anymore. This is not a game. This is my life. This is your life that we're talking about here. And see, some of you, though, you might be looking at it like, I don't care about my life. I don't care about my life. I don't care if I live or I die. I don't care whatever happens because I know it's all pointless and meaningless anyway. You see, once you have nothing to lose in a world that is already dying, in a world that really doesn't know a lot of things, and you get absolutely honest with yourself, you're gonna feel like an outcast. You're gonna feel very awkward for a long time. But over time, you will come to accept that. It might feel weird now. You might be laughing hysterically out of control right now, kind of like the Joker or something, and seeing this like it's all a joke. And yes, it is kind of a joke, some of it. But then some of it's not a joke. Some of this shit is dead ass serious. Like it's not a laughing matter with some of these things. But sometimes there's a time to lighten up. There's a time to take things serious, and there's a time to lighten up, my friends. It's just, do we have that discernment in our life? You see, when you live by that discernment and you say, I'll die by that discernment, and you're not putting on a persona for people. You're not putting on this facade and mask for other people, and you start getting absolutely real with yourself, the whole paradigm will completely shift. And you see, the people that don't want to look in the mirror at themselves with this, they're gonna run from you. They're not going to associate with you. They're going to go a different or opposite way, but sometimes that's what is meant to happen for someone to change their perception of reality and how they live. Sometimes it has got to be the hard thing. Sometimes it has got to reach you with suffering. It has got to reach you with the thing that nobody wants to hear. Sometimes it has got to be confrontation. It has got to be something tough. You can't change a car without hard tools. What are you going to use? A pillow? Are you going to use a pillow to change your tire? Are you going to use these soft approaches to get through to people? It doesn't work. It's not gonna work. It doesn't work if you're just constantly going by this soft approach or telling people what they already know. You're not getting through to people. You're not really doing anything for them. You're just keeping them there. You're keeping them paralyzed. You're keeping them living the same old stinking day every day. They have nothing to look forward to. It's not, the old things have passed. Behold, everything is new. Therefore, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. You see, when you start reading these things metaphorically and applying them to your head, and yes, Satan in the Bible is the scapegoat. He is much needed. He's much needed. The morning star that fell is much needed for us to know ourselves. Are we getting this? Are we getting this, or am I just completely wasting my time here? And if you're getting this and it's actually moving you, thumbs up the video. If it didn't do nothing for you, give it a thumbs down. I only want, if you got it for yourself, then thumbs up the video. If you got it for yourself. See, that's all I care about. I don't care about all the other little games, all the other little facades, all the other little putting on and acting like people are tough and putting up all this nonsense. I have no time for that no more in my life. No time. And if people run from me, that's okay. If people don't understand, that's okay. If people do whatever people do, it's okay, because everybody at one time does not understand things. I didn't myself. If I didn't hear a word from another person, how would I have ever known these things? I wouldn't have. And you say, well, where am I getting with all this? What is all this proving? You know, what do I have to gain from this? See, we have to really look at our motives here. If we're not looking at our own motives and our own intentions on why do we want to be around the person that has a lot of money or has something going for them, or see, my intentions for people that already have a craft or have something going for them, my intentions is to learn from them, is to gain understanding for myself, to know myself more, to discipline myself more, to look into my own shit more. See, when you realize that you ain't got time for games, yet again, the whole entire paradigm of your life changes and switches. And you just do not have time for some of these old stinking ways that keep getting us killed and destroyed. And then everybody wonders why there's nothing to wake up to. You don't feel like there's anywhere to go because everybody's saying the same stuff to you. They're keeping you there. We're keeping ourselves there. This has nothing to do with negativity and positivity and who's right and who's wrong. Screw all that stuff. You see, and you even see how me, when I go to say a curse word, it's even if I curse, it's still irrelevant, but still, I'm not trying to do it in excess because people catch on to that little stuff. You see, and it shows your character. It shows what you're doing in your spare time. Everything you do in your video, everything that you say, every word that comes off of your tongue, later on, it's going to have an effect on something. It's like everything you're doing, you're writing your own life. You're writing your own eternity here. You're literally saying, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I do. And you know without a damn doubt in your mind that you didn't lie about any of it. See, that's why if something happens to me, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to stay. I'm ready to go. My life is literally in the hands of God and the universe. That's what my life is in. I don't control any of this shit. I'm just a guy here talking, walking, doing what I do. But I'm desperately telling you something, but it's not desperate. See, it's not desperate. It's just telling a desperate world that desperately needs to hear these kinds of things. Because who else is going to say it to anybody? If your brother can't correct you, don't you fight with your brother? Don't you wrestle around on the ground with your brother, give him a bloody nose, and you might hate each other at that time. You might not like each other at that time, but then you make up and say, I'm sorry, brother. I love you, man. I didn't want to do that to you. And I just ask myself that this is going to be another tough pill. But I ask myself, where were the parents at? Where are the parents at in this life? This is what I'm wondering. Where are the parents at here? They bring children into the world, and then most people, they just don't know stuff. They're ignorant of stuff. And I ask myself, where were the parents at in all this? What were the parents taught? You see, and I am the one that is going to teach people these kinds of things because there's nobody else doing it. So who shall I send? Who shall do these things? Who shall come in my name, in my word, and tell people these kinds of things? See, nobody acts out on it. Everybody's talking. Everybody's walking. Everybody's saying things. Everybody's acting a certain way. Everybody's putting it on their channels and on the internet and on YouTube. But there's nobody actually out in the streets doing it for the people. You see, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm not going to come up to people and get in their face and force something on them. I'm going to walk around, and I know they hear me because I care for them. You see, I care for their well-being. They can look at me like I'm nuts. They can look at me like I lost my mind. Oh, this guy's crazy. He's over there talking to himself. Look at him. He's over there talking to himself. What a dick. What an asshole. Eat my payday. Oh, here's the wrapper. Throw it out the window. Get my boogie and wipe it on the bathroom stall at the gas station I go to. This is how inconsiderate some people are. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And when I say it in that text, I'm not talking about everybody in the video. I'm talking about in that manner of how people act. You just get to this point of reaching ground zero in life. And see, most people are never going to turn into channel zero. They're never going to go to the channel of no channel to take an honest look at themselves. They're going to go to channel 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever, because they need something to compare themselves to. They need something to go to blame for the things that are going on in their life that they're not willing to change, that they're not willing to look into, that they're not willing to get honest about. And then this is where all this comparing and blame comes from. And if you can't handle that, then you can't handle the truth. If you want to know the way, the truth, and the life, that's it. And no man cometh to the Father but by me, by Jesus Christ. And that's what it means when he says that. This, you're not going to find it anywhere else because it's not in this world. I have searched high and I have searched low. I have searched everywhere. I have searched in every single philosophy, every single spiritual principle, every single guru, every single YouTuber, every single whatever person in the world, and I have never found anything like this word that is being spoke right now. Nothing. And I do not take any of the credit. I do not boast of myself. When you hear me and it seems like I'm boasting, you're just thinking from what they brainwashed you with that I'm boasting. But I'm not boasting in that thing. I'm telling you what it really is. You see, I don't take any of the credit and glory. I give all credit and glory to God, the universe, something that I have not done. I haven't made any of this. I haven't put any of this into action. I just came out as a baby crying, pissing, shitting, and eating baby formula. So how can I say anything? See, it doesn't matter if the world labels you as whatever they label you. The labels are dead when you come to this. There is no more labels. And that is the way, the truth, and the life. Right there. End of story. So thanks for the support. Thanks for everything that people do on this channel when they come here. But you have to understand, you're really not giving the credit to me. See, you're not giving anything to me. You're giving back to yourself to understand all of this for yourself. And that's where I'm at, y'all. So I appreciate your time. Those who know my voice hear my words. And I'm not going to do the middle finger this time. I should, because it represents the hypocrisy, the contradiction, peace. Like the amazing atheist says, peace the fuck out. Like that. So I'm going peace. Well, I'm kind of copying him in a way, but see, I don't want to copy him, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say, thank you for your time. I got to go to the store to get some milk, to drink another coffee. Keep learning, keep understanding. And if you're here, you have no other choice but to change. You're going to change. If you're here listening to my videos, you are going to change. Your whole perception of reality is going to be different in a couple years. I'm not going to guarantee that for you, but I guarantee for myself, I know for myself what I have gotten. I know without a doubt, 100%. See, I'm that sure of myself. I have no doubts anymore in anything that I'm saying, because I wouldn't be saying it if I didn't. You see, I'm not going to half-step this. I'm not going to put on the facade and the game for people. I'm not going to lie to myself and people anymore. I decided I will not do that. Something in me has broken. I don't care what others think anymore. I don't care about their labels. I don't care about their judgments or their criticisms, because all that we are doing when we do that is we are judging, criticizing, and pointing the finger at ourselves. We're just talking about ourselves at the end of the day. That's all we're doing. And those who understand this will understand that. A lack of knowledge destroys the people. It's as simple as that. A lack of knowledge. A simple lack of knowledge, understanding, and discernment destroys us. I'm out, y'all. Thanks for watching.